Are you ready to see a well-done indie psychological horror film? Then check out Machination. Hey everyone, this is David Stark from Watcher Pass. Today I'm talking about Machination, which is coming to digital on May 20th, 2022. It is a psychological horror film that looks at the effect that the pandemic could have on a single person who has some past trauma. Because of that, I am all decked out. Let me just do a little bit of cleaning first. I want to make sure that everything is all clean. All right, there we go. So I'm going to do a 5-minute review. I'm going to talk about this film for 5 minutes, and I'm going to turn this off at 5 minutes, regardless of where I am. So in Machination, you have Maria, who is kind of a shut-in. She is worried about the pandemic. Her parents have gotten sick, and she is just getting deeper and deeper into her own paranoia. And this is partly due to the news, partly due to things that she's hearing from other people, and partly due to her own past traumas that give her kind of, I think, an extra sense of paranoia. And so all these together combine to form this really well done indie horror film. So my hot take is I think you should rent it. I liked a lot about what it did. I liked the way that it kind of slowly built, and the way that it kind of represented some of these issues that she has, and just the way that it maximized its budget. This is not a very big film. This is not a film that had a ton of budget, but they did a good job and made a film that was interesting to watch. So ultimately, I think it's a rental, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the film, a few things I liked and a few things I didn't like. So like I said, in the film, as Maria gets further and further into her kind of pandemic paranoia, she becomes more withdrawn. She doesn't want to go to work. She doesn't want to even go outside. She becomes extra cautious, and this is really well represented. So things I liked about this film. The first is the slow buildup. This film starts very slowly. It starts with kind of your normal extra cautious pandemic person who is cleaning everything. She's being very careful. She's wearing all the gear that she needs to, but it slowly gets more and more kind of extreme as the movie goes on, and her rituals get more extreme. She, washes her hands vigorously. She's always cleaning, and eventually she becomes very withdrawn from the outside world and very fearful of the outside world. I liked how the film slowly did that. It kind of started off normal, extra cautious, but normal, and kind of went further down the rabbit hole as the film progressed. The second thing I liked kind of the realistic depiction of pandemic paranoia. I really loved at the start of the film, there's a 3 or 4 minute sequence when she is just kind of going through her getting home ritual, where she is cleaning her hands, and then she's cleaning her feet and washing her feet off, and then she's washing off her sandals to make sure there's nothing on there, and then she goes and cleans her hands extra carefully, and she's washing her hands for literally 2 minutes, which I thought was a very clever thing to do. And she takes off her outside clothes and puts those in the washing machine with gloves on, and just she goes through this entire process to get into her house to make sure that she doesn't have anything on her. And I really liked the way that was depicted. And then throughout the film, she just cleans and cleans and cleans, and she is cleaning the floor. Part of this is her own kind of internal trauma that leads her to see things that maybe aren't there, and leads her to think that the house is dirty when it actually isn't. And there were little touches as well that I really liked. They made her hands red, and you never really saw a close-up of it, but you could tell when she was washing her hands, her hands were red and raw from cleaning. And anyone that has been hand sanitizing vigorously and cleaning themselves vigorously for the last couple of years is going to recognize that that is kind of something that can happen if you clean your hands all the time. Yes, it's great to be clean, but it also irritates you. And the last thing I really liked is the mystery. You don't necessarily know at the start what Maria's status is, what's going on with the rest of her family. You learn early on that her parents are sick, but you don't know if she's sick. You don't know what the outside world is like. You're only kind of getting things from the outlets that she is reading. She hears a lot about the rise in numbers. She reads a lot about how bad the pandemic is. She gets information from people who think it's worse and worse. And so you don't have a good sense of how the life is outside until later on in the film, as you learn more and more about the other people, and you see how other people are reacting in this world. And you also don't necessarily know about Maria's past traumas. They hint at it. There's little flashes here and there, but you don't necessarily know a lot about it until towards the end. Like I said, this is a lot right, and I really liked a lot of aspects about it, but things I didn't love as much. The first, and it's weird that I just praise this, is the mystery. Now, I liked that this was a mysterious film. I liked that you didn't really know much about what was happening, but the mystery kind of stays through to the end. So you do find out more about her past trauma and more about the world, but you don't really get a good full understanding of what happened to her. I just wish there was a little bit more, maybe a few more scenes that kind of linked what actually happened to her, because I think I understand, but I don't necessarily know. The second thing I didn't love is the ending itself feels a little rushed, and I don't know if this is by design or what, but the film has a very, very long, very kind of interesting buildup, and then it just kind of, the last 15 minutes or so, it just barrels towards a conclusion. I wish that she would have had a little bit more exposure. We were able to see a little bit more about what was going on and kind of explore, again, like I said, more about her past trauma.